and for our place in the world. Thank you very much.
Madam President.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear Antonio. Indeed, we had a very good discussion and we made progress in a number of areas. Let me also start with Ukraine. Indeed, this morning we adopted the 19th Sanctions package. It is a wide-ranging and extensive package that hits at the heart of the Russian war economy. And in parallel, the United States is proceeding with its own set of sanctions on Russia. So these are two very welcomed moves at the same time. Because, of course, together with our partners and allies, we have a greater impact. And we will keep up pressure on Russia for as long as it takes, just as we've always said that we will stand by Ukraine for as long as it takes to secure an end to the killing and a just and lasting peace. This was also today our message to President Zelensky. We had a good discussion on the reparations loan to be financed with immobilized Russian assets, and it allowed us to identify points we still need to clarify, and then indeed we will come back with the different options that we will develop. Let me underline again, we will always respect European and international law while we are taking this work forward that we've just described. Now, indeed, our second topic was defense. And we had a very positive discussion today on the roadmap of readiness for Readiness 2030. The roadmap, as you know, identifies the capability gaps we have in the European Union, very closely coordinated with NATO, of course. And the roadmap describes objectives and different milestones and deadlines to reach our goal to fill these capability gaps by 2030. It is a 360 degrees approach, so the principle is very simple. Our security is about protecting our borders. Today it is in the east, but tomorrow it might be in the south. So it is started as a real 360-degree approach. The flagship projects that we have identified are a very clear example for this. They are pan-European, they are cross-cutting in nature, and of course they can be projects of common European interest. You mentioned the Drone Alliance, or for example the Eastern Flank Watch, but also the space defense or the air shield, the European air shield, are typical examples. Now, very important in the discussion was the fact that, as we will have with the roadmap, a surge in defense expenditure, it is for us very important that these defense investments are an engine for growth. In other words, we want a return on investment. It's going to be billions and billions, actually 800 billion, up to 800 billion till 2030. And we want a very clear return on investment by creating jobs here in the European Union and having research and development here in the European Union. So Europe must be responsible for its own defense as a strong transatlantic security and fully aligned with NATO. Moving on to competitiveness and the clean transition. Globally, the clean transition is now full in swing. Clean tech markets around the world are booming. If you look at some figures, the global market for batteries, for example, is expected to double in size over the next 5 years. The global market for wind turbines continues to rise by over 10% every year. And if you look at the developing economies across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, last year the sales of electric cars have risen by 60%. So this is not only good news for the climate, it is also a great economic opportunity. And the discussion was among us whether we want to reap the benefits of this global clean tech boom or just let others profit from it. And of course, the answer is very clear. We are going all into this competition. And there were 3 points that we emphasized in this discussion. The first is We must support more clean products that are made in Europe. This gives us also independence. So we will introduce a Made in Europe criterion for public procurement in some strategic sectors. Overall, if you look at public procurement, it's round about 14% of the European GDP, so an enormous firepower, financial firepower, that is potentially in the hands of governments. The second point is that we must ensure that new foreign investments in our industry are truly in our interest. They must result in jobs and technology transfer here in the European Union. And the third point, that we will step up targeted support for key industries, for example, cars or battery manufacturing. You know that we are working on a battery booster to support production in Europe, or that we are with a new set of initiatives for the automotive sector, working on pushing the automotive sector and developing the cars of the future. And this also includes a new simplification omnibus. Now, we also discussed the climate targets. We are on track for the climate target by 2030. And we have, of course, all agreed a clear target of climate neutrality by 2050. Now, what we have discussed is the interim step 2040 that is ahead of us. We have proposed a 90% target and introduced new flexibilities. And today we saw support for an ambitious and pragmatic approach at the same time. So we also discussed the flexibilities to get to this goal, first in form of international credits, and second through flexibilities between the different economic sectors. So in short, more flexibility on how to reach the target, but to have a pragmatic and ambitious target at the same time. And finally, housing. I'm very grateful to Antonio for putting the crucial issue of housing on our agenda. Thank you very much for that, because housing is and will remain a national competence, but some of the challenges would, of course, benefit from a coordinated European approach. And therefore, still this year, I will put forward a European affordable housing plan. And because we discussed it, we will need a strong European coordination. We will also convene the first EU Housing Summit in 2026. I leave it at that, and thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. The first question goes to Maria Tadeo.
Maria, for Euronews, you both make it clear that Russia has made a mess in Ukraine and they are going to have to pay for it. But when it comes to the reparation loan, the conclusions make it also clear there are sticking points and the language is softer.